Hello everyone and welcome to this week's behind the scenes devlog video, and this week quite a few things that I want to get done in Equilinox. I've just made a quick list of them here and I'm going to try and get through as many of these things as I can this week. And first up I'm going to have a go at creating a new bush model because I don't really have many bushes in Equilinox. I've always found it kind of difficult to make low poly bushes look good, but I'm going to have a go at doing that right now. So I've just finished my attempt at creating a new bush for Equilinox, which went alright. I think that this is acceptable enough to add into the game, so I'm going to do that later, but for now I wanted to start work on something else, which is to allow the user to filter items in the shops to make it easier to find the item that you're looking for, because as you can see there are starting to be quite a lot of species in the game, so it's quite hard to find the one that you're looking for. So I want to create a drop down menu that allows you to choose the category of species that you want to find. So I've just started work on this combo box drop down menu component, and it doesn't work at the moment, but you can see that when you mouse over it the arrow turns blue, but at the moment nothing happens when you click on it. It is 11:15 and I've been making some good progress on the new combo box component, so you can now click on the arrow here and that will bring up the menu. You can't click on any of these at the moment, but you can see that the one that the mouse is over gets highlighted. There is obviously a problem that the mouse is still interacting with the UI behind this, so I need to fix that, and I also need to allow you to actually click on these. Going to stop for some lunch in a minute, but as you can see I have now got the selecting working, so you can click on any of the items in the menu and that item will then become the currently selected item. And obviously the next step is to get this to actually sort out the items in the shop depending on the category. So that's something I'll do this afternoon. It's been a bit of a slow morning today. I've not been feeling too well. I think I've got a bit of a cold, but hopefully a nice healthy lunch will sort that out. Good morning everyone, it is Wednesday morning and I didn't really do much else yesterday afternoon because I really wasn't feeling great, but I did finish implementing the sorting by category. So now if you choose a category from that drop down menu, you can see that the shop only shows items in that category. Obviously though, a bit of an issue at the moment with the order that things are being rendered in, and to fix that I need to make some changes to the GUI rendering system itself, so that is the first thing that I'm going to do today. Coming up to 11 o'clock and I've just fixed the issue with the rendering order, so the menu is now rendered on top of everything else as it should be. And to do this I implemented render levels, so I can now set the render level for a GUI, and GUIs with higher render levels will always be rendered on top of GUIs with lower render levels. So that's all working now, but you can still see that the mouse is interacting with the GUI behind the menu, so I'm going to work on fixing that now. So after reworking a lot of the code for the GUI system, I have now finally got this all working, so you can see that the mouse is no longer interacting with the GUIs underneath the menu. So you can now use the menu to filter the species shop by classification. So if you just want to see the trees, you can do that. If you just want to see the bushes or the cacti, you can see that that's all working. And also in the task GUI, you can now sort the tasks by their task state. So you could just see all the tasks that are in progress or all the completed tasks and so on. This afternoon progress has been a little bit slow. I'm still not feeling great, but I have just finished implementing one new feature which allows the user to turn off notifications for repeatable tasks so that you don't get notified every single time they complete, which can get a little bit annoying. So I created this bell icon and I made it a button here, and when you click on this you can toggle notifications on or off. So it is now Friday morning and this week has not been very good. I haven't got a whole load done because I've just been feeling pretty ill all week, But yesterday I did get some stuff done. I spent half the day resting, but the other half I was working on the evolution trees in Equilinox, which is something that's been in the game for quite a while, but I haven't really put to use. So when you start a game in Equilinox, most of the animal species won't actually be available to you, and you have to unlock them through the selective breeding process and using these evolution trees. So this is the evolution tree, the current evolution tree for the sheep. So you can see the species that you can unlock through breeding the sheep, and each of these species has some requirements that you need to meet in order to unlock it. So for example, to unlock the boar, you just have to have sheep breeding in a forest area, and then there'll be a 5% chance every time a sheep has an offspring that that offspring will be a wild boar. And this is the simplest type of requirement, just a certain biome, but some species will have much more complex requirements, like you'll need to manipulate some of the traits of the sheep first before you can breed that new species. So I set up quite a few of these evolution trees yesterday, and I worked a bit more on the system. Obviously the evolution trees aren't very big at the moment because a lot of the species that I'm going to add into Equilinox aren't in Equilinox yet, but you can see an example here of the sort of evolution trees that I've got planned. And today I'm just going to be doing a bit more work on this system, finishing off any loose ends and just expanding the system, making it a bit better. So this morning I've mostly been working on adding a new tab to the entity pop-up GUIs, which is this tab here. I still need to create an icon for it, but basically this tab is going to show things that are affecting the behavior or performance of that entity. So for example, the apple tree has a productivity boost of 5%, and I mentioned last week that's because it has some insects around it. And this tab is also going to be used to show what the chances are of breeding a new species, so you can tell whether you've created a good enough area for a new species to be bred. So for example, for the sheep here, you can see that because it's in the snowy area, the chance of it breeding a reindeer is 2.94%. This afternoon I've just been making a few little tweaks and improvements to the evolution tree system, which I'll show you in a second, but I just wanted to show you a full working example of how you would use this system to unlock a new species. So let's say you've started off a new world in Equilinox and you've got some sheep, and you want to unlock a new species, so you have a look at the evolution tree for the sheep. So let's say you want to unlock the wild boar, which as we know requires the sheep to breed in a forest biome. So the idea is that you then have to create a suitable forest biome habitat for the sheep, which they need to be satisfied with, and it needs to have enough food for them. And most importantly, it needs to be a stable, balanced ecosystem, because the chance of breeding a boar is only 5%, so the sheep need to basically be able to live in that area indefinitely. And in this case, it's pretty simple. You just need to have some wheat for them to eat because grass doesn't grow so well in the forest biome. And you need some forest trees because the sheep like to have trees around. But as I've mentioned, for many of the other species, this will be much more challenging depending on their breeding and living requirements. So you can then go and work on something else, and after a while, a wild boar will finally be bred, and you'll be notified about that. And clicking on this notification will take you to the new boar, which has an icon above its head to make it easy to spot. And the first thing you'll need to do is to move it to a suitable habitat, so you can click on him to grab him and take him to a new area. And the boar species has now automatically been added to the shop, so in case they all die out in the world for some reason, you'll always be able to get some more. To finish off the afternoon today, I've just been doing a bit of work in Blender creating this new tree model, and this is in preparation for when I add a swamp biome into Equilinox, which I might do tomorrow, but for now I'm just going to stop for a bit of dinner. I'm going to have an omelette and some roasted vegetables today. Good morning everyone, it is Saturday morning and I'm going to be working through the weekend this week because obviously I've lost a lot of time during the week. But I'm feeling a lot better today, so hopefully I can make some good progress. So I'm just having a bit of breakfast, some banana pancakes, and then I will get started. So first up today, I've created a younger version for this new tree model, and I also need to create a middle stage at some point, but I'll do that another time. And I've also just added these trees into the game, as you can see here, because today my main task is to create a swamp biome in Equilinox. Just added the new mushroom species into Equilinox, and you can see a few of them popping up in the swamp here, but I do now need to take a break unfortunately because I've got a few other things to do today. I've got a haircut appointment in a bit, and then I need to do my weekly food shopping. Next up, I've been working on some new grass models for the swamp, and you can see them in the game here. And now I'm going to try and add a particle effect to the swamp, which will hopefully make it look like it's all foggy and misty. So as you can see, the swamp is now emitting a purpley mist, and to implement this I simply used a particle effect, and I made the particles use this texture here, which I just created. Just finished making one more model for the swamp, which is these mossy rocks here, and I'll be adding these into the game later, but first I just need to do a bit of cooking. I want to make some snacks for when my friends come over later, so I'm going to have a go at making these Irish biscuit scone things. So while the biscuits are baking, I've just very quickly added those rocks into the game, and you can see a few of them in the swamp here. So the biscuits are ready now, and they turned out pretty nicely. I mean, the ones in the recipe looked a little bit different, but no one needs to know that. Just quickly started doing some of the editing for this devlog video, but it turns out that my friends are actually going to be coming for dinner now, so I'm just about to get started with doing some more cooking. So today I'm just going to be editing this video together, so that's pretty much going to be it for this slightly disappointing week. I'm sorry that there wasn't more to show you, but I'm sure that next week will be better. Before I finish, I just need to give a big shout out to the top Patreon supporters from last month, and they were Jeffrey, NASA, Blue Nova, Danny D, Timothy Gibbons, Crazy Rusky, Galathil Fenor, Benjamin Fuller and Alexander Chavez, so a huge thank you to you guys. And of course, thank you to all of you for watching this video. Do subscribe if you haven't already. Have a fantastic week, and I will see you all next time.